to use the 3 types of sentences in our writing when we're writing essays, reviews, reports, whatever we're writing, right? Because we want to create a variation, a variety of sentences and sentence structures so that we don't sound like amateur, right? We sound like we advanced, we actually thought about what we're writing. And if you have a combination of simple, compound, and complex sentences in your essays, you're bound to get a very good mark compared to someone who only has simple sentences or compound sentences. Simple sentences are like, I went to the shop, I drank coffee, then I went home, etc. Right? Very short and choppy. Okay. All right. Please stop drawing on my whiteboard, guys. It's not funny, really. Okay.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Right.
So ma'am, like with the people drawing on the board thing, Ruth said he can see whoever does it. Can you not see whoever writes on your board?
Yes, I can. And I'm going to be writing emails to parents. So if you're writing on my board, just know very well that I know who you are. All right.
Oh,
Ma'am?
Yes?
I just want to ask, have you received all my work that we got during the week?
I will reply to you, Michael. I have received most of it. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. So let's look at simple sentences, right? Simple sentences are usually short, and you can have compound subjects, right? Compound subjects are where there's more than one subject in a sentence. So for the sentence, for example, the sentence over here, number 2, the table and chairs need to be cleaned. Can you see that there are more than one subject? So we call that a compound subject, right? Just give me a second, guys. I'm just getting... Okay, so there are 2 Darrens now, so I don't know which one to... Anyway. All right, so... And they can also be compound verbs, all right? So, for example, the boys... Can you stop doing that?
Ma'am, it's not even me, ma'am. I don't know why you're saying it's me, ma'am. It's not me, ma'am.
Is it not you?
Ma'am, I don't know why you're accusing me.
Okay, then who's doing that?
Ma'am, it's
Ask anybody here, ma'am. Guys, did I draw or did I scream anything? Ma'am, I'm just
Darren,
listening
ma'am.
to what you're saying.
Amy, technically.
Who's doing this?
It's
Darren. So Amy. So Amy, ma'am.
Okay.
Amy. Is
Okay, Amy, I am...
Ma'am, please proceed.
Yes, I'm going to proceed, but I'm taking out Amy from the group. Okay.
So, ma'am, it wasn't me. I didn't do anything, ma'am. Please, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry for saying it was you. It sounded like you.
No problem.
Okay,
No
guys,
problem, ma'am. No.
if you know who this is, please let me know. Okay. It's destructive because I do my best to, make a lesson that's informative. It takes me a while to draw up these lessons, and I'm just thrown off my compass when this kind of thing happens. Yeah, Darren was Emmy's under Darren for this lesson, right? Okay, so moving on, and the next time this happens, I'm just gonna leave the chat because I don't know, I can't teach like that. Okay. All right, so guys, as we were saying, simple sentences are short, right? You must have a subject and a verb in a simple sentence, okay? But using too many simple sentences makes your writing choppy, as we said before. Now, a simple sentence is a complete clause or a complete sentence, right? Meaning it has a subject, it has a verb, and it can stand on its own. Let's look at a few simple sentences, and you guys are going to help me to identify the verb and the subject, right? So in the first sentence here, Grace opened the door. What is my subject? Who's doing the action?
Grace, ma'am.
Grace is doing the action, right? And the verb here is opened. And lastly, what is she opening? The door, which is my object, right? So this is an example of a simple sentence. Another example of a simple sentence is where you have a compound subject, right? So you have the words table and chairs, right? The table and chairs needs to be cleaned. That entire sentence is a simple sentence. Why? Because it has two subjects and a verb, and it can stand on its own. The next one says, the boy smiled and waved. This one has a compound verb. So the two verbs that are there is smiled and waved, right? And the next type of sentence is a longer, simple sentence. The scared children ran away from the spooky house. Can you see how that's also a simple sentence because we have a subject? What is my subject in this sentence here? Okay, so remember I have a noun phrase. The subject is the entire noun phrase, the scared children, right? Ran away from the spooky house, ran away is the verb, and the spooky house is the object. Okay, let's go through a few more. The ham, green beans, mashed potatoes, and corn are gluten-free. So in this case, this entire part of the sentence, that is the subject. Can you see how many subjects we have? We can have more than one subject in a sentence. What is the verb in the sentence? The ham, green beans, mashed potatoes, and corn are gluten-free. Is the verb. Well done. Right. The Maggie's scrawny stray dog hurriedly gobbled down the grain-free organic dog food. Very long sentence, but it's still a simple sentence. So what is the subject here? And we've done this in the previous lesson. So I want all of you to try and answer this. You should be knowing this. Okay, well done, Christopher. The mangy, scrawny, stray dog is the entire subject, right? So we can have more than one subject, or we can have one subject, or we can have a noun phrase. A noun phrase is where you have the subject, but there is a descriptive word describing the subject. In this regard, the dog is mangy and scrawny, and it's a stray as well, right? Okay, next one. I quickly put on my red winter jacket, black snow pants, waterproof boots, homemade mittens, and hand-knit scarf. So what is the subject of this sentence? Who is doing the action? Yes, can I have answers from more people than Christopher and Gabby? I need all of you to help me answer. I is the, yes, well done. I is the subject, right? So quickly is an adverb, right? But put is the verb in the sentence. Can you guys see how many objects we have in the sentence? The red winter jacket, the black snow pants, blah, blah, blah. So we can have more than one object as well in the sentence, right? Nervously, I unfolded and wrinkled the wrinkled and old stained letter from my long dead ancestor. So in this regard also we have I, which is the subject, unfolded, which is the verb, right? Wrinkled and stained letter is the direct object, and who is it from? The long dead ancestor, and that is the indirect object, right? Just give me a moment, guys. I'm just checking my chat. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
Amy is asking me to ask you to please let her back into the class.
Okay, I did. Hello, Amy. Can you hear me? Amy, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. All right, so guys, the second type of sentence we have is a compound sentence, right? So now we done simple sentences, and that was very easy. We come to a little bit a more complicated type of sentence, right? And this is called the compound sentence. So it consists of two or more simple sentences which are of equal importance next to one another. Tell me in the chat, is a simple sentence an independent or dependent clause? Independent clause means it can stand alone, it's complete. Dependent means it cannot stand alone. So is a simple sentence independent or dependent? It's independent. Well done. So a compound sentence is made out of two independent sentence clauses put together and joined usually by a coordinating conjunction, right? So a coordinating conjunction, and this is the cool part about it, you haven't learned the word coordinating before, but I'm going to teach it to you in this lesson, right? There are altogether 7 coordinating conjunctions, and that's the only ones that you find, right? And how are you going to remember that? You're going to remember it by the mnemonic fanboys. All right, so F stands for for, A stands for and, N stands for no, B stands for but, O stands for or, Y stands for yet, S stands for so. So you're going to have 2 sentences, and either one of these words are going to be used to combine those sentences. But that word isn't there to, that word is to show that both sentences are of equal importance. If you had a scale and you had one sentence on the one side, other sentence on the other side, it would be balanced, right? So for example, let's join 2 simple sentences with the conjunction and. Grace opened the door and she looked outside, right? So in this example, can you see that the coordinating example conjunction is and? But if you look at the sentence on the left-hand side, Grace opened the door. Is that a complete sentence? Let me know in the chat. Can that sentence stand alone if we didn't have the rest of the sentence? Just give me a yes and no answer. Okay, so since someone is answering me, I'm assuming that you guys are confused, right? But the answer is yes. Okay, now I'm seeing answers from Sibu, Michael, and Mo. Yes, right? So Grace opened the door is a complete sentence. Why? Why is it a complete sentence? What 2 things tell me? It has a subject, right? It has a verb, and one last thing. Actually, 3 things. Can anyone guess what that is? I mentioned it when we were doing simple sentences. It has a subject and a verb. It doesn't need to have an object, right? But it is a complete sentence, meaning it can stand on its own. It is an independent clause, right? She looked outside is also an independent clause. It can also stand on its own. It has a subject, it has a verb. It doesn't need to have an object to be a complete sentence, right? So let's look at a few more examples of compound sentences. Each of the sentences below are independent. They all have subjects and verbs and express a complete thought. So when I'm talking about an independent sentence, I am talking about a sentence that has a subject, has a verb, can express a complete thought. So let's look at a few of these compound sentences. I'm good at swimming, but I don't like it. So can you see that on both sides of the sentence, I'm good at swimming and I don't like it, both of them are sentences that can stand alone, right? But they are joined with a coordinating conjunction. But the next one, it was raining, so I took an umbrella. It was late, yet I wasn't tired. I have not met Steve, nor have I met Susan. All right, guys. So, and the last thing we need to know about compound sentences is that they can be separated by means of a semicolon. Now, a semicolon is this little guy over here. Okay, can you guys type for me a semicolon in the chat? Let's see if you can find it on your keyboards. Well done. It's like that little wink, right? And you guys use it to wink sometimes. So the awesome thing about compound sentences is that you don't always need a coordinating conjunction. If you want to, you can just use a semicolon, right? Quickly to revise, what are the 7 coordinating conjunctions? You can give me the mnemonic if you remember. Starts with F. Something about boys. Fanboys, well done. And F stands for A stands for N stands for nor, B stands for but, O stands for or. Let's just see if O stands for or. Yes, O stands for or, Y stands for yet, and S stands for so, right? It's not fanboy, it's fanboys with an S. Okay, examples of compound sentences. So for this one here, you guys are going to identify the coordinating conjunction, all right? She did not cheat on the test, for it was the wrong thing to do. Just give me the coordinating conjunction in the chat. For is the coordinating conjunction. Let's look at this sentence real quick, right? If I look at the clause before the conjunction, she did not cheat in the test. That sentence is an independent clause. It can stand on its own. It has a subject, it has a verb, and it makes sense if you leave it on its own, right? It was the wrong thing to do. Can this part of the sentence stand alone? Just say yes or no in the chat. It was the wrong, if you just have a sentence name, it was the wrong thing to do. Christopher says no. Okay, so guys, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but the answer is yes. Why is it yes? Remember that I told Remember I told you that in a compound sentence, you have 2 parts of the sentence. Both parts are equal in weight. Remember, I told you about the scale, it's both balanced, right? And what tells you it's equal in weight? First of all, the coordinating conjunction, right? The coordinating conjunction isn't there to show that this sentence is greater than this sentence. It's there to show that both sentences are equally important, right? One cannot exist without the other, right? Does it make sense now? Just let me know if you need more explanation. Cool. Next one. I really need to go to work, but I'm too sick to drive. Tell me the coordinating conjunction here. But, well done. Right. Well done, guys. And if we look at the 2 sides of the sentence, I really need to go to work. that sentence can absolutely stay on its own, right? It has a subject, it has a verb, and it's a complete sentence, right? And I am too sick to drive also can stand on its own. It has a subject, it has a verb, and it's a complete sentence. Right, I'm counting my calories, yet I really want dessert. What is the conjunction here? Yes, it's yet. He ran out of money, so he had to stop playing poker. What's the conjunction there? It is so. Good job. The waves were crashing on the shore. It was a lovely sight. Now, what in the sentence tells me that this is a compound sentence? I see that Christopher has answered me. It is the little semicolon over here, right? What does the semicolon tell me? That both parts of the sentence are equally important, and they both no one sentence is dominant over the other. Okay, moving on. So just to recap a little bit, I said that simple sentences had a subject, had a verb, and they were complete. They could stand on their own, right? I said that compound sentences had a subject, had a verb, but compound sentences were made out of two simple sentences put together and joined in the middle by either a semicolon or a coordinating conjunction. Now let's look at the last type of sentence, complex sentences. And you know, guys, the funny thing is, some of you don't even write complex sentences in your exams and stuff. Okay, so if you have never written complex sentences, then this is the awesome time, the perfect time to learn how to do that. So a complex sentence is where you want to show that one part of the sentence is more important than the other part. So it's not like a compound sentence where everything's equal, right? There's equality. In a complex sentence, there's not much equality going on, right? So a complex sentence consists of an independent clause and a dependent clause, right? But the difference here is that they are joined by something called a subordinating conjunction. Think about if you have a hierarchy, right? You have a king and a queen, and then you have the minister. Which person or people has a subordinate position? Subordinate is inferior or dependent. Is it the queen and the king, or is it the minister? The minister has a subordinate position, right? He or she has a lower position. The same thing with independent and dependent clauses, right? The dependent clause is subordinate to the independent clause. It cannot exist without the independent clause being there. So in complex sentences, we shine light on the independent sentence and we dim down the dependent sentence using a subordinating conjunction. All right, so let's look at a few examples of subordinating conjunctions. It's different from coordinating conjunctions, and coordinating conjunctions, to recap, is Venn for, but, yet, so, etc. Right? And for subordinating conjunctions, there's like a million. I can't really put all of them in one, but I've added a few of them. If, when, after, before, since, while, because, though, right, and even though is also a subordinating conjunction. Unless, until, when, whenever, whereas, wherever, therefore, etc. Right? If you guys can you guys think of any other subordinating conjunction? I can think of one right now. It starts with an H. It rhymes with however. Okay, I gave it away to you guys. It's actually however and rhymes with wherever and whenever, right? Hasn't. Has is a verb. Moving on, complex sentences. So in a complex sentence, we have an independent clause plus a dependent clause, and sometimes we get, actually all the time, we have a subordinate conjunction. Let's look at an example of that. So if we look at this example over here, wherever you go, you can always find beauty. So the thing about complex sentences is we need to identify what is the dependent sentence first, right? The dependent sentence will always be linked to the subordinate conjunction. The subordinate conjunction gives that part of the sentence a subordinate or lower position in the sentence. So if you look at this, from what I just said, can you guys identify which part of the sentence is subordinate or dependent clause? You can always find beauty is independent. It can stay on its own. It's an independent clause. Which one is the subordinate clause or the dependent clause? It needs the next part of the sentence to exist. Let's see if you guys can figure it out. Wherever you go is the dependent part of the sentence. Because think about it, can you just have a sentence saying wherever you go? Is that a complete sentence? No, right? It has a subject, it has a verb, but it still cannot stand on its own, right? And you can see that this part of the sentence can absolutely stand on its own. It makes sense. But what's the giveaway? The giveaway is the subordinate conjunction wherever that, remember, it's linked to the dependent sentence. Just like the minister, his name, his title, minister, is linked to his position, which tells us that he is subordinate, he is under the king and the queen, right? The same thing with the dependent sentence. Because if I didn't have wherever, if I just said, you go. You go is a complete sentence. It can stand on its own. What makes it subordinate or dependent is when I add the conjunction wherever. Is this making sense? Tell me yes or no in the chat.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I know it's thorough. Language is, guys, this year language is really thorough. Awesome. And the difference, I think, between like language and NS is you guys speak language every single day. Now we're just taking what you speak on a daily basis and breaking that down so you guys can understand how to speak better, right? Next one. You should take your car in for a service because it's starting to make weird noises. What is the dependent part of the sentence? How do you identify the dependent part of the sentence? You look for the subordinate conjunction.
Ma'am, it's because it is starting to make a weird noise.
Yes, well done, Michael. So you should take your car in for a service. It's independent, it's whole, it's complete. It has a subject verb, right? It can stand on its own. But because it's starting to make noises, if we just have this sentence on its own, it doesn't make sense. What about that? What's starting to make weird noises, right? Okay. Now let's look at one more thing before I go into the examples. So guys, complex sentences can be rearranged in two ways. The first way is that the conjunction can go in the middle of the sentence, right? Or it can go in the beginning. So the first one, I took my umbrella because it was raining. Can you see how the conjunction's in the middle here? But the second one says, because it was raining, I took my umbrella, right? Moving on. So in this case, I want you guys to help me find the dependent sentences. The sentences with the subordinate conjunctions. Okay, because my coffee was too cold, I heated it in the microwave. Which part of the sentence is dependent? Tell me in the chat. Okay, sorry guys. The first part, yes, because my coffee was too cold is the dependent part of the sentence, right? Why? Because the subordinate conjunction because tells me that that part of the sentence cannot stand alone. Although he was wealthy, he was still unhappy. Can you guys let me know which part is the dependent clause here? Well done, Amma. Although he was healthy, right? And what tells me this is dependent because of the subordinate conjunction, although. So, guys, let's just let me just show you guys something. If I took away the word although, he was wealthy. Can you see how that can be a complete sentence? It is a complete sentence, right? But because I'm attaching the title although to that sentence, that makes it, that titles it as dependent. She returned the computer after she noticed it was damaged. What is the dependent clause here? Now for this one, you need to think a little bit, okay? And let me hear some answers from, well, most of you have been answering in this lesson. Don't have a problem with that. But let's hear it from everybody. Okay, so Christopher has said after she noticed it was damaged. Well done. That is our dependent clause. Why? Because subordinating conjunction after is connected to the dependent clause always. Evergreen trees are a symbol of fertility because they do not die in the winter. What is my subordinate clause there? And I want answers from Michael, Lesefo, Umulemo, and Kian. I'm just randomly calling out names. Let's see if you guys.
Sorry, what question did you ask?
Umulemo, are you paying attention? I asked for this.
Yes.
Okay. I asked for this one now.
No, yes, ma'am. I'm paying attention. Sorry, ma'am. It's just the computer. It's just breaking up with me, ma'am.
Oh, is that happening for everybody? Are you all having disconnections on your side?
Ma'am, I'm also having trouble. Like the audio sometimes just like fades away.
Is it? Just let's have a code, right? Every time my connection is bad, just say bad connection, so I know. Okay. Sorry, guys. The school Wi-Fi.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. The school Wi-Fi sucks compared to my one at home. So let me repeat my question, right? My question was, what is the dependent clause in the sentence?
Ma'am, isn't it because they do not die in the winter?
Yes. Right. And isn't this so easy, guys? Why is it so easy? Because all you need to do is find your subordinating conjunction and then connect it with the rest of the sentence. Okay? If you use complex sentences in your writing, it's telling me that you can connect two things together, right? Your mind is not frazzled and all over the place. You can have cause and effect. If this happens, that is the consequence of that action, etc. Although it was very long, the movie was still enjoyable. In the sentence, although it was very long, it is the dependent sentence. Okay. Before we move on, can anyone tell me in the chat what is the difference between a complex and a compound sentence? You can name more than one difference, that's fine as well. Tell me what kind of conjunction is used in a compound sentence as opposed to a complex sentence. Tell me what kind of clauses are in compound sentences compared to complex sentences. Ooh, okay. Christopher says a compound has two independent clauses. Well done. Mo says a complex is difficult. How is it difficult, Mo? Tell me what you notice about it. It is more complex, it's complicated. Yes, I want you guys to try. The information, okay, granted. What is complicating it for you, Mo? Let me help you through your blocks. Gabby says, compounds have two independent clauses. Well done, Gabby. What kind of conjunctions are used in compound sentences as opposed to complex sentences? It starts with, and you can even name the mnemonic I told you. A complex sentence only has one independent clause and a dependent clause. Well done, right? So in a complex sentence, guys, as we have at the bottom here, because my coffee was too cold, this part is dependent, and I heated it in the microwave, this part is independent, all right? Yes, Amar says fanboys. Fanboys are coordinating conjunctions always used in compound sentences. So what is one easy way to find a compound sentence? Just look for a coordinating conjunction, and there are only 7 in language, right? What kind of conjunctions do we have in complex sentences? What is it called? It starts with an S. Subordinate, right? Remember that analogy I gave you guys about the king and queen and the minister? Just remember that, right? Okay, so for homework, this is going to be due for next week, Wednesday, so you guys have enough time. You're going to look at each sentence and write next to it. Is it simple? Is it compound? Is it complex? Okay. Then you guys are going to go to the next part. It says join the simple sentences to make compound sentences. You're going to join it with either one of these coordinating conjunctions. And lastly, you're going to choose the correct conjunctions to make these sentences complex. You need to choose one subordinate conjunction in either of these examples. All right, so my time is up.